Hello and welcome to Mandibil. This is, as far as I remember, part 27 of my deconstruction of Keith Frankish's lecture series on illusionism. And we are almost at the end of lecture 3, finally. I hope and consider that it's possible for me to make sure that the next 9 minutes or so I will be able to fit into under 1 hour of deconstruction here. So let's see if that is not possible for me. And we are also sort of at the last leg of this. It's sort of the finalizing comments of his that isn't that. It's like he has spent 2 hours arriving at a sort of a what feels like a coincidental. Okay, so here the argument is, and then he spends the next 20 minutes sort of adding stuff to it, right? In this bloated academic manner, and boring and grinding and droning, and it's just a bore to listen to this, right? He is a proponent of why people fucking hate philosophy, right? No wonder people are thinking they're crazy, man, right? Maybe not crazy, that's just a strong word, right? But they're sort of caught up in their cloud castles and their fancy thinking, and they have they're no longer attached to reality, and this fancy, yeah, but most people would say, yeah, but that's because I'm too stupid to understand what they're saying. They're just trying to elaborate on this very complicated thinking, and you're just a little people. You just pay the taxes so they can get their life financed, right? And just accept this as if you don't understand it, it's because you're stupid, right? So this sort of underlying thing going on, right? It's prevalent in most academics, no matter what kind of academic you are dealing with, right? Even Bernardo Castro, right, also has a bit of that, right? In order for you to be something, you have to have a PhD or be a doctor, or otherwise we can't take you seriously. We can only talk down to you, but you can never talk up to us, right? Fuck off, man. Okay, let's dive in. Let's see. I think it was around. No, it was actually a bit further ahead. Let me see if I can
to realism.
Wind a bit ahead. Sorry about that. It was about here.
Holmes exists only as the object of the thoughts we entertain while reading Conan Doyle's novels. Okay, so we're coming to the end now, and one final consideration: progressiveness. There's an awful lot of work being done.
It's also annoying that he has to throw a label in your face, as if it's sort of a natural word to throw at you, right? And then it's just backward. Why don't you just argue? And then maybe later you can say, okay, these sets of arguments fit into a category I would call progressiveness because of this and because of that. No, this is the other way around, right? This is typical academic bitch slapping, right? They bitch slap you with some weird word that is not given. It's not. It could be understood in many different ways. And progressiveness, if you're into music, well, then it might be Genesis or Yes or Berkeley, James, Harvard or something like, right? But if you're talking philosophy, well, it's not Genesis, right? So it's sort of progressiveness. It's sort of, I'm just mentioning because it's so natural for me to mention this word, because that's what you do when you do this kind of philosophy, right? No, it's verbal bitch slapping, right? If you don't start out with the argument that are connected with a reduction base, it's just word juggling. It's just throwing fancy words at you to numb you into submission, right? Hopefully, or not hopefully from my stance, but possibly for these people who do this. It's like they're throwing a difficult word at you to to paralyze you in a way, you could say, right? It's a fence they put up to keep you away from discussing it, right? Or to approaching it or criticizing it. Because who understands what progressiveness is? Well, then he actually just mentioned it, and now he's going to explain it to you. And because you need the explanation in order to understand what he's saying, there's a risk that you're going to accept it as good philosophy because you're listening to the explanation of it, right? Rather than giving you the straight up arguments and then label it with some fancy word afterwards, so you can sort of reject it in the process of listening to the argument, right? So it's just be aware of these things, right? He have sent all sorts of bad signals to me from a point of view of whether or not this is good presentation of philosophy, right? He ticks off all the wrong boxes, or a lot of the wrong boxes, right? And there are basically none of the right boxes, in my opinion, right? What can I think of that I sort of say, this is a good part of the presentation, right? There is nothing I can think of. I'm not trying to be sort of just bashing him, but I can't think of anything I say, well, that's something I could use, or anything like that, right? Or I would do it the same way, and anything like that. Well, okay, I could say there's a picture of him. He uses language. He has pictures and text on the presentation. That's sort of the best I can say. But if he didn't do that, it would hardly be a presentation, right? So there's sort of a bare minimum, and I can't, commend him on the bare minimum of what it takes to make a presentation, right? So all the things I pointed out is just like it's 10 or 20 things that are criticizable about this presentation. The format is boring, right? The terms used are not explained. It's long-winded. You feel you're not in control, or don't have an overview, or it's 20 times longer than it needs to be, and his voice is monotone and droning, right? Boring. And he's cherry picking, apparently, right? And there's a foundational stuff he apparently doesn't understand. The list goes on and on, right? And this is supposedly one of the foremost people in this particular kind of philosophy, right? Why the hell would I show this any seriousness, I think it's called, right? It's ridiculous, man, right? Anyone with half a brain can and who's not easily sort of, let's say, manipulated into accepting whatever. Oh, this is a professor. Oh, illusionism. Oh my God, it's so fancy, and ooh, right? When you sort of pull away the curtain and see what is going on behind the curtain and so on, and what under the hood, what is actually going on there? There's not really anything, right? Just a bunch of stupid arguments that aren't really arguments, or really not connected arguments that solidifies any idea of what it takes to argue this kind of philosophy, in my opinion, right? So I am on, on the back burner. What's it called when you have the motor running in empty mode? Wasn't it when it's sort of if you don't speed up the motor, just let it run. What is it called in English? I don't know the English term for that.
And on consciousness from a variety of perspectives, metaphysical perspectives, scientific perspectives, and so on. One of the problems, I think, for a lot of this work is that it isn't progressive, in the sense that it doesn't produce a research, that it doesn't generate research programs that are going to be productive, that are going to yield testable hypotheses. In this area, I think illusionism...
My God, right? Testable hypotheses. Well, you can't test a thinking, right? The only thing you can do is deconstruct it, or try to find holes in the arguments, or things that doesn't work but you can't test it in a scientific manner, right? You can't look or hear your thoughts, right? The thoughts are thoughts. They are something going on in the mind that is not empirical, right? So appealing to some kind of science or anything like that is stupid, man, right? I can't believe how stupid this is. These sort of, it's like if you have a base idea of something, I'm just trying to wipe the board clean here, right? If you have some kind of idea and a simple structure, I might go with this, right? And then you sort of, if you have a picture of an idea of a book or something, let's say, right? And then you start to think of the smaller details of this book, the structure of this, and you get so bogged down in all these details that you start to lose connection with this base thread within it, right? And other people keep piling ideas and arguments and pro and con, and there's also this and also that, and you change it a bit here and change it a bit there. At some point, you might end up actually losing connecting with that foundational simple thread through this. And I think that's what's going on with a lot of these philosophers. They simply lose connection with any base thread through their philosophy. And usually that's why they end up having this pet subject that they're sort of basing their whole philosophy on, right? So that you become a sort of illusionist, and what you spend the rest of your days is arguing that there are no qualia, or qualias are just illusions, right? Or you're panpsychist, and that's how you explain that the consciousness arrives out of matter or whatever, right? And you spend the rest of it's like this pet subject kind of philosophy is stupid because it's leading nowhere, right? You're sort of, if you want to go from Berlin to Rome, right? And then you in Vienna, you get sort of stuck down in a bakery, right? Let's say, and then you can't get out of this bakery because it's so interesting, this bakery, and where does these cakes come from, and why are they red on top and brown underneath, and so on. And you spend the rest of your life explaining this, bakery. But that's not the whole story. The whole story is traveling from Berlin to Rome, right? That's what we're interested in. We want to get to Rome. All avenues lead to Rome, as they say, right? So why are you stuck in Vienna in this bakery, right? Get the fuck out, man, right? Keep going. I mean, you can't just stop there and say, I'm going to spend the rest of my life in this bakery, right? Maybe it's a stupid analogy, but I think you get my point. I hope so, at least, right?
Scores much better. It supports a progressive research program.
First of all,
it
I
offers
have to stop this one. I can't read what it says in this one. Let's have a look. Read, idea, develop, fund, plan, record, process, publish, read, idea, develop, fund. The research cycle. Oh, fund. Okay, that's where they're backing the state, right? Yeah. That's where they get the tax money. Okay. Yeah. Who cares? Sort of free market business structure within state-funded science.
Planetary target. The heterophenomenology, or reports about our reports about our own experience and other reactions that we make in response to our own experience. All the responses we give to probes of our own experience, and that contrasts, I think, with realist theories in general, for the simple reason that the notion of qualia itself, the notion of phenomenal properties, is poorly defined. This is the coherence argument from the beginning from Dennett, which picks up on everything that we talked about in the previous lecture. It's not clear that the notion of qualia offers a clear explanatory target. Second, illusionism encourages the development of testable hypotheses. we're trying to explain how people will respond to probes about their own probes of their experience, asking them to indicating somewhere what their experience is like.
Okay, so they have to report, right? So you have to use your qualia in order to understand that report, or even understand that there is a report, right? I mean, how shall I put this, man, right? It's staring him fucking right. It's slapping him in the face, and he can't see it, right? He's basically saying there's a big fucking contradiction within my thinking. Right? And he can't see it. No, because we have to get rid of this qualia stuff. Because it's annoying that there is this heart problem. So let's just get rid of half of it, and then we don't have a problem, right? We don't need to deal with it, because it's not important, right? It's sort of just labeling stuff as in, fuck that shit. I don't care, right? Oh, man. And then it has to be testable, right? Well, if reports are pseudoscience, right? Reports are pseudoscience. That's not science. Science is empirical. You would have to accept that. Otherwise, it's not. I didn't come up with science, right? I just understand what science entails. It entails empiricism and observations in the present, right? In order to deduce some kind of conclusions about a hypothesis or whatever, how you want to structure it, right? But at least it entails you being able to experience it directly, right? And not only you experience, because I could say I experience my, hunger, right? Or my, sleepiness or whatever, right? That doesn't mean that it's scientific, right? It would have to rely on a report, in the sense that if other people need to understand this, they can't experience my sleepiness or my hunger, right? But we could experience the same elephant, right? So you can refer to external objects in science. You can't, otherwise it's pseudoscience or psychology and these kind of things, right? The pseudoscience. And that's the borderline between these things. And that's also modeled around, right? This is sort of put together in sort of a big pile of science and pseudoscience and so on, right? Reporting and all that, right? And philosophy. It's just one gumbo of shit. One big pile of things, piled in, but what's the word I'm looking for? As sort of a mix of just whatever he needs, and say, hey, I created illusionism, right? I don't buy it. I won't buy it. I mean, I don't care how good it might be underneath somewhere. This is bullshit. I reject this outright, right? No way I'm buying this.
If we develop theories about how phenomenal reports and about how phenomenal reports are produced and how other reactions to experience probes are produced, then we can test those by predicting what responses people will give to probes in particular situations. In particular, we can devise experiments where we present them with unusual stimuli that they've not encountered before, unusual visual stimuli perhaps, or unusual combinations of sounds or smells or whatever, and we'll be able to predict how they will respond to probes, how they will respond, say, if we ask them what it was like. We can test that and see if they do respond in that way. And this contrasts with many realist theories, many of which make no predictions at all about how people will behave. Panpsychist theories, for example, make no empirical predictions at all. They're merely a metaphysical theory that finds a place for consciousness in our picture of the world without supposing that it actually makes any difference to how people behave. It may be involved at a deep level in causing their behavior, but it doesn't make any difference. They would still behave in that way if the fundamental realizing properties were not phenomenal, but were something else. So that's one way in which illusionism is more progressive. It invites multidisciplinary work. It's not just a matter of philosophical theorizing, metaphysical theorizing. It involves bringing together all the...
That's a huge problem, right? You can't just step from thinking into measuring, right? It doesn't follow. It's a weird kind of understanding of what you're doing and the delineations between what you mean by philosophy and what you mean by science and what those particular avenues can actually provide you with. And the funny thing is, show me some kind of science where you don't use your senses, right? Because science is basically saying, I need my senses, I need my qualia, right? That's empiricism. I mean, what the hell, man? Because if the science is not based on empiricism, it's just mysticism, basically. Or you should consider it that, right? You're just conjuring up whatever you want to be the case. You might as well believe in, leprechauns and, Santa Claus, right? And the stork is arriving with the babies and so... I mean, why not? I mean, it's incredible. I really don't understand how he can be so ignorant of what the hell he's talking about, right? It's unbelievably ignorant. I mean, this guy should be defunded immediately. Put in the street, say goodbye, yeah, you figure out how to survive, right? Don't fucking eat innocent people's money, right? And tell them this bullshit, right? In order for people to pay for your life, they need to read an email where their masters tell them, you better fucking give me your money. So we can pay Keith Frankish he needs to eat some pickles and he needs his feta cheese down in Crete, right? So you need to pay for him because he has some fancy ideas he wants to tell you about and you have to fucking pay for it. And this email, which you're using your senses in order to, identify, right? And your qualia, in order for us to make sure that you understand you're going to be killed in the end if you don't pay for this dude, right? Let's just take off the gloves and state what the hell is going on here, right? Academia is, a kindergarten for grown-ups who don't want, who is afraid of the free market, right? And they can't, if they can't understand this basic philosophy, right? They possibly can't understand that the little people have a gun to their face in order to pay for their fucking life, right? And they have ventured into this system in order to get away from the life that those people who are actually going to pay for them have to lead in order to survive, right? These parasitical, high-flying, stupid academics, man, they piss me off like I can't explain how much they piss me off, right? They're basically shitting you right in the face with this stupid shit, right? And nobody is controlling what the hell they're doing, apparently, right? They're basically enabling them. Moscow's Center for Consciousness are letting me have their platform in order to spout this shit. Why the hell is this going on, man, right?
People from right across the cognitive sciences, from neuroscience and psychology and even AI and areas such as that. It also invites evolutionary theorizing. How did this, according to the illusionist, sense that we are phenomenally conscious is the product of introspective mechanisms of some kind? So we can ask how.
Well, evolution is a theory, right? And it will only stay a theory. You can't experience evolution, right? You can only have remnants, fossils, whatever, speculations about, what is left over in particular, whatever, right? It will only ever stay a theory. So, yes, it can explain, but it's not philosophy. It can explain why you are ending up with a particular kind of, and the limitations of your mind and so on, or consciousness, whatever you want to call it, and the experiences and so on. Why the limitations of it, why they're put together this way, that there might be a lot of things to gain from thinking from a evolutionary standpoint. But evolution is not philosophy, right? Philosophy is about how to understand your experience and what the hell you do about it, right? That's basically what it is. So how to understand it, okay, my experience, one way I can predict, for instance, how this experience is going to manifest itself in the future is basically doing science, right? It's not believing in gods or, looking into coffee remnants or whatever, right? It's doing science that can be checked empirically and so on, right? That's a part of philosophy, because philosophy has arrived that if you want to predict the future, do science. That's philosophy, right? But you can't turn it around and say, okay, now I'm going to do science in order to explain philosophy. That's ridiculous, man, right? And there's no direction in this. He's just sort of cherry picking whatever he wants and trying to combine it into something that could make some sense to some people, at least, right? It doesn't make any sense to me. In fact, I'm just disgusted by it, to be honest, right? To be frank, right? So, okay, let's have the last bit.
How and why those mechanisms evolved. And this opens up interesting new possibilities that I think wouldn't even present themselves on other theories. For instance, it opens this possibility that the sense of being phenomenally conscious, not actually being phenomenally conscious, but having the sense that you're phenomenally conscious, might be adaptive. Even if phenomenal consciousness itself wouldn't be, even if phenomenal consciousness would be epiphenomenal and make no difference, maybe the sense of being phenomenally conscious would make a difference. Maybe it's actually adaptive to have this sense of having a magical inner world, a world that's not really physical, that's not really part of the physical world, and that makes us metaphysically special in some way. Maybe that actually is.
So, obviously, he's suffering from this naive realism problem, right? There is this big world that he has access to, and then he sort of diminishes your personal experience as something that, yeah, that's just for show, that's just for fun, it's just a funny Cartesian theater or whatever, right? But I have access to this big world out there, right? He needs to understand that he's suffering from a paradox, right? Which is naive realism. And then because he still have this inner experience of qualia, he can't combine them, right? It's the big combination problem of some kind. No, it's not the combination problem. That's something else. But it's sort of, it actually illuminates a huge problem in scientific or materialist or physicalist, but they tend to also be very scientific in their approach to things, right? And having this scientist kind of, that he made a bit of fun of earlier, right? But that everything can be explained using science. And if it can't be explained, it's probably something that isn't important. Something like that, right? Now, I will furiously, argue against that, right? Because it's ridiculous. It's like everything, at the same time as he's saying, he's using these kind of qualia to do this kind of science or experimentation and so on, right? At the same time as he tries to argue for them not being important or being an illusion you shouldn't take seriously. I mean, what the fuck is going on, man, right? I mean, if you want to destroy people's sense of functionality in their own experience of life, well, give him Keith Frankish, because he's going to destroy your sense of having any connection with anything, because he tells you not to take your qualia seriously, man, right? God. I'm pretty sure that if he opens his fridge and downs his pickles and it tastes like a dog shit, right? He's not going to keep eating it, right? So he is taking his illusion seriously, right? Get the fuck out of my face, man.
Is in some way a benefit to us. Maybe it enhances our lives. That maybe it makes our lives richer and more fulfilling in some way. That contributes to our fitness. And indeed, this view has been argued for by the psychologist Nicholas Humphrey in his 2011 book Soul Dust, a book that I recommend strongly. So I think there are lots of positive aspects, progressive aspects to the Illusionist program that I think are not features of realist theories. And what this leaves us with an illusionist program that is certainly challenging. It's not going to be a...
So what I'm hearing is, oh, hooray! My weird kind of philosophy has a lot of spin-offs that creates a lot of more need for academics, right? Oh, we can evolutionary theorize, right? We can invite multidisciplinary work. Oh, I'm just creating more academic work, right? So I can bolster my life and create a bigger barrier between my academic friends and our academic parasitic world and those pesky peasant out there who has to pay for it, right? Nicholas Humphrey, my soul dust. Suck my soul.
An easy task to explain consciousness, even from an illusionist perspective. But it's not going to be an impossibly hard task. The problem with realist theories of consciousness is not simply that they're trying to address a hard problem, but they're trying to address one that is, from the point of view of third-person science, at least impossible, that can only be dealt with really by philosophical theorizing. It doesn't lend itself to this sort of progressive, multidisciplinary empirical research program. And again, I think that's another reason for preferring illusionism. So there are a bunch of considerations in support of illusionism. I don't think any of them is a knockdown one, but put them all together, I think there's quite a strong case there for...
Quite a strong case? Yeah, get the fuck out, man, right? I want solid argumentation that is sort of basically irrefutable without destroying, basic understandings of philosophy and so on, right? I don't want something that I think this is pretty okay, sort of, right? That's not what I want in my philosophy, right? I have no respect for this, man. I am so triggered and, disgusted by this, right? And it seems so nice and so gentle and accommodating and so on. Oh, man, it's basically sophistry, right? Just let me stay in my professorship, right? Oh.
At least we're taking illusionism seriously, and perhaps for treating it, as Daniel Dennett says, as the default theory of consciousness.
I can promise you, of consciousness. But you have, by saying that a beaver is not a part of my bicycle, doesn't prove that bicycle exists or anything like that, right? You're saying, yes, these weird dangling qualia, we don't need them. So now I have a philosophy. Get the fuck out of my face, man, right? What about the rest of it? You can't just say, we don't need qualia. The rest is explained. Done. Fuck off, man. Now, my last thought, I've commented very much on this case for illusionism. I have spent, I don't know how many hours, deconstructing this lecture 3, right? And I think we've got around to the end here. I don't need the last minute or so, right? What is he actually trying to do? Because it seems to me, as I also pointed out, he doesn't have a philosophy, right? Yeah, he calls it illusionism, and it has the pretense of actually being some kind of coherent or potentially coherent philosophy. But all he has basically said is, or attempted to say is, don't take those qualia seriously. At the end of the day, that's what I've got, right? As far as I can understand, right? It's very bloated and convoluted and droning and boring and so on, and long-winded, right? But at the end of the day, we don't need qualia. Done. This is my philosophy, right? Now, if he's trying to circumvent the heart problem, he actually not doing that. Because the heart problem asks, how the hell do we get from, the standard model and the four laws of nature and so on, and mathematics and whatever, atoms and all that shit, right? How does that explanation of that external world become the color red? And even not maybe how does it come, but why is it exactly red? Why not something else? Or why is it not, when I'm experiencing red, why am I not experiencing what would be sound, right? I know there's usually a correlation between hearing a sound and a particular event going on in the world that creates sound, seems to create sound, and so on. There seems to be correlations, but there's no, the qualia of the experience of sound and color and so on. Why are they like they are? Because they're completely different in another paradigm than that which apparently is responsible for creating it. There is nothing that you can say that's why it must be red, right? He's actually not circumventing the heart problem, right? He has to accept that there is qualia, otherwise he can't refute them or call them illusion. There has to be something you then call an illusion, right? So the something is there. The experience is there. He can only say, well, don't take it seriously. But then it's like, yeah, we don't need to deal with the heart problem, but the heart problem is not dealt with, right? It's not explained. And that's all the heart problem tries to do, right? Because, this step by step, this follows from this, and in a causality in science and so on, that leads to eventually colors and sounds and taste and so on, right? So he's basically just saying, yeah, I guess there are these colors, but I don't care. I don't need them, right? So now I don't need to deal with the hard problem of consciousness. But they are there, even though if you don't like them or want to avoid them or ignore them, they are still there. You are not refuting that, right? You're not saying there are no qualia, right? Otherwise, what the hell are you talking about if you're talking about qualia then, right? So if the qualia arrives from this scientific explanation of that reality is referring to, then they are there. And then why are they there? Why are they like they are? Why do they have those qualities? Why do they have this qualia? From this scientific understanding of that external world, right? So he's not dealing with the heart problem, right? He's just trying to sort of half-assed tell you that I guess you could just ignore them, right? So you don't have to discuss anything about the heart problem, as if that's a circumvention of the heart problem, which it isn't, in my opinion, right? So what is he actually trying to do? He's saying, I can do all the philosophy, and I'm just adding a point that says, I'm not taking qualia seriously, right? While he at the same time constantly uses qualia in order to get to all sorts of conclusions about how to avoid qualia. Not least presenting something here using my qualia, right? So it's fucked up, man, right? It's absolutely disgustingly shitty, this philosophy, right? I have minus respect for this, right? And that people like him are funded and cared for by a system that basically tells me I shouldn't accept the qualia I use on a daily basis, on a daily basis. Yeah, let's just say that like that, right? It's ridiculous, man, right? It's basically saying you have to pay for this shit, and we don't give a crap what it is we are handing out to you, right? I have no patience with it. Okay, that's what is the last word on my deconstruction of lecture 3. Give me your comments. What do you think of it? Is it also long-winded from my point of view, or is it sort of a necessary steps I need to take in order to deconstruct this, right? Or, share, like, and subscribe. Consider the board, the link below. And otherwise, see you in the next one.